Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. If you're watching the replay on this, thanks for checking out this great information that we have for you this evening. My name is Jasmine LeBlanc, and I am with Zilphy's Garden. We are a wellness business that's trying to encourage people to restore their nutritional heritage through switching to a whole foods diet and raising awareness about how you can heal yourself through food. Thank you for joining us on this segment of Restore You. Tonight I have on a special guest. His name is Mr. Brent Wallace. He is coming to us from the West Coast this evening, and he's going to share with us a little bit about his wellness journey and how he's been using that to heal himself. Let me bring Brent on. Welcome, Brent.
Hi, thank you, Jasmine. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. Thank you for being patient. I had technical difficulties again.
It happened.
It's like Thursday night. Something's going to happen. But yes, Brent, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I just gave people a little teaser, but I hadn't told them too much. But I want people to hear it from you. Kind of what has led you onto this wellness journey? What was your aha moment?
Well, my aha moment was a year ago this last June, and I travel on the road, and I was in Boise, Idaho, and started peeing blood.
That's never a good thing.
Not a good thing, no. And it continued to get worse, so of course I couldn't, not say anything about it, and had to tell my wife. And fortunately, she used to actually work for our urologist, and so they started a conversation, and by the time I got back, they were trying to work out a plan. They first thing we did is he went in and took what's they call a cystoscopy, where he runs the camera up inside of me and found out that I was 95% full of tumors.
Wow, that was in your bladder?
Yes. So fortunately, they were inside the bladder and hadn't pierced through the wall of the bladder, but it was invasive. So it was a pretty serious thing.
Okay. So what were your options at that point?
Well, main option for that, main protocol is to have your bladder taken out, which I was not ready to do. And so he was going to actually do a quick surgery and kind of go in and do an exploratory type thing. And that didn't work out because I had been taking some aspirin. So it gave us about 10 days to start doing some research on our natural cures and so on that we've been doing.
Okay. And, so had you started that before you saw the doctor, or did that not start until after your conversation with the doctor?
It was after that, after we saw the doctor.
Okay.
Yeah. So, first thing I did is start researching bladder cancer to see what it was and, how you tackled it and so on and so forth. And it's been quite a battle. We found out, I found one particular person, a guy who lives in Dubai, who him and his wife helped us quite a bit in the beginning. They were the only ones I knew of who had been able to tackle this. So we worked alongside of our urologist through this whole thing. First thing we learned was to cut out sugar and carbs. Sugar is like, pouring gasoline on a fire. So it's just not a good thing. We changed our diet. We completely started changing to a plant-based diet. Okay. I used to be a real steak and potatoes kind of guy, and that was going to have to go by the wayside. So in the beginning, we were really, really strict about what we did, and we had to work along with the urologist. With this kind of cancer, the only way to get the tumors out is for him to actually go up inside and laser and burn those out of there. So it hasn't been a pleasant thing, but we've had to do that now 5 times over the last year and a half. It's been quite a challenge. There's other treatments that we've done. BCG treatments are a treatment that is actually immunotherapy type of treatment that is made from the it's from the tuberculosis vaccine. Kind of an unusual type thing, but it works on bladder cancer supposedly. So we've done lots of this type of stuff. But our biggest thing that we did was change of diet.
Okay. What was the hardest part for you about the diet changes, or were you just so motivated because it was really for the sake of your health and well-being that you were just like, we're doing it just because we have to?
When you're faced with looking at your life going, I'm going to do this, you just buckle up and do it.
Yeah.
You know, it did kind of bother me because it was like, what am I going to eat? My wife took me in the store, taught me how to read labels, and it was like, oh my gosh, I can't eat 90% of what's in here.
That is so true. So your wife was on board and completely committed with you, but how did the rest of your family take to the food-based lifestyle changes?
Well, it's just the two of us. You know, we have grandkids and so on, and children, and some were more receptive than others. Others are still kind of, I don't know if they're riding the fence or what, but we have as of here about a month ago or so, we are cancer-free.
Congratulations.
Been quite a battle, and plan on staying that way. Nutrition is really going to be the main thing that keeps my immune system in check.
Oh, very much so. In addition to just you fighting cancer, I mean, you look great. I've seen before pictures of you, and to see you now, you've lost a considerable amount of weight, and you look like you have so much energy right now.
Well, I'm still working on the energy level, but yes, I've lost 50 pounds along the way.
In a year, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I feel a lot better. That's for darn sure.
Good. So, are you able to maintain the same your work life that you had before? Are you still on the road?
No, I really haven't. For the most part, I traveled all the time. So, okay. For the last year and a half, I really haven't been able to do that as much. I've had to kind of work more at home, and I've kind of been actually switching to a couple of different types of more home-based businesses, and that's worked out real well.
Well, that's great. So yeah, I talk to people a lot about sugar and just like how it's bad for you. And we hear from time to time about, how sugar feeds cancer cells, and that's how they test for sugar cells. And you said, since you were on the road, people who travel light and who work on the road are just kind of eating the processed sugary foods and everything and aren't satisfied. But, I've heard you say that you thought that you were a relatively healthy person, like you didn't get sick before, like you thought everything was okay.
Yeah, for the most part, really, I was the kind of guy who was like most guys, I think. You don't go to the doctor unless you're dying or
peeing blood.
You have to, yeah. You cut your arm off or something. But so it was never really a huge concern. I really didn't have a lot of health issues until all this came up, and then I found out that it was like, oh my gosh, all this had been building up in my body for years.
For years, yeah, and you just had no.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have a very inspiring and encouraging story. If you had to tell someone if you had to talk to yourself 20 years ago, like what would you have told yourself then?
Oh man, I'd have changed my diet a long time ago. Yeah, no doubt about it. People just don't get it until something happens to them, unfortunately.
Yeah. And that is the unfortunate part, is that we wait until we're forced to make those changes when we could change things now and not have to be in the case where you were. So how frequently do you still have to go in for your to get checked for cancer?
We still have another 2-3 years of kind of maintenance where we'll slowly go down on that, but kind of taking it a day at a time, like I have the whole time.
So personally, I am an herb junkie. Like I love going that kind of route with herbs and go even walk in the woods and see what we can find and scavenge in the forest. So, but you said that you were taking an herbal supplement from. Actually,
I've been taking it's actually a plant-based whole food nutrition supplement.
Okay.
And, yeah, it's called Juice Plus. It's actually 30 different fruits and vegetables that have been juiced and turned into powder with a special proprietary way so that you don't lose the nutrition. And then those capsules, you basically get 30 servings of fruits and vegetables every day just by swallowing those capsules. They've really been beneficial.
So that's for you. That's been a way to really increase your vegetable intake, since you are using food and using nutrients to actually treat and to cure your cancer.
Yeah, actually, what I did, we were referred to a doctor in Atlanta, and he told us, in my situation where, basically my immune system was way behind the 8 ball, that I should probably double or triple up on this dose. So I doubled up in the beginning, and then I tripled up in the last 5-6 months, and it's made a huge difference. Right now, I take in more than 100 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. So it's more than you could actually eat, but it's been really good. That's not the only thing we've done. Nutrition, I feel, is probably the most important, though.
Mm. And you said you were taking I think you said a tea as well?
Yeah, there's a tea. When we first started researching and discovered a tea called Essiac tea that comes from Canada. Originally, a nurse back in the 30s and 40s used it to help cure a lot of people naturally from cancers and all types of different diseases and so on. From what I understand, it was actually an old Indian remedy that had been passed down to her.
Yeah. So if someone was looking to do more research, well, of course, they can go to your website, and we'll drop that link in the comments where they can ask you questions and follow your story. But if someone just completely didn't know where to start with any of this, kind of probably where you guys were about 1.5 years ago, where would you tell people to kind of start finding some resources?
Well, I really feel like I've been led to tell my story and tell what I've done. So the first thing that I would say is go to my site and go read my story, because I have several different things listed in there that are pretty much natural type of protocols that you can use for any type of cancer. There's turmeric, and I took a lot of cannabis oil. I actually took that in a suppository. By doing that, you get all the medical benefits. You bypass the kidneys and you don't get high. So you get a lot of benefits there. So there's just multiple things that you can do. You really kind of have to attack cancer from all angles. Really a lot of it too is mental, spiritual. I've come out the other end here a completely different person, better person.
Well, that's great, and we were excited to have you on and just hear a little bit about your story. I don't want to keep you. I want you to be able to get back to enjoying time with your family, but I thank you so much for coming on to our show. We will drop like I said, we'll put the link to your website, which is pretty easy. It's just brentwallace.com, correct?
Yes.
Yes, and we will put that in the comments so people can go follow you and check out your story. But thank you, Brent, for your time, and I'll let you get back to your evening.
Thank you, Jasmine. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye.
Bye.